All right, kids. I lost track of what number episode this is, but we're going to start getting into groundwater the next couple of weeks and Long Island groundwater pollution. But before I get into today's lesson, just a reminder: by Friday you have your Castle Learning due. All right, so make sure you get that done. A bunch of kids not do it. Get your Castle Learning done. All right, just a disclaimer. So if you guys aren't doing a lot of your assignments and then it comes time for the end of June and you want to make up everything, it's not going to happen. So make sure you get all of your stuff done, get it in on time. And I will say this, and don't take offense, you guys are doing way less than my first grader is doing in science. So it's really not a lot of work, right? One assignment a week, get it done on time, and hand it in. So I'm going to do a lesson today. It's only going to be one lesson this week on groundwater. It'll lead us into next week. So you get a jump start on next week's assignment, but obviously focus on climate today. And on Wednesday, I'm going to try to go just kind of a live interaction with you guys. So I was going to set that up. It's going to be at 9 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, right? So I'm going to try to figure out this live video thing. So if we want to do that, if I can't figure out how to blend all my classes together, maybe just do a chat. But any questions you have, you guys are having trouble in your Castle Learning, that's basically a live extra help session to get through that. Make sure you get a really good grade on your Castle Learning. And then we'll keep going moving forward. You know, we have really a little bit left in the year, about a month. So we'll figure it out. So we're going to get into groundwater. It's super important, particularly for Long Island. And I know you guys have done the water cycle before, but we're going to get more in depth with it. And just to jumpstart into next week, you can have some vocabulary if you want to get started on that from next week's assignment. But I wanted to get this to you guys, and then we're going to I'm actually going to take a video by a water tower next week. I'm going to talk about Superfund sites with pollution, stuff like that. But basically, this is how the water system works. And this is very important for you guys because you get your water from the ground, right? So if some places get it out of a reservoir, you get it from the ground. So it's super important, all these factors to you, because every time you turn on your faucet, it's like magic, right? Clean water comes out. That's not how it works all over the world, but we take that for granted, and yours comes from groundwater. So some factors here, right? That obviously water incoming is precipitation. You guys all know what precipitation is: rain, snow, sleet, and hail, right? We have evaporation. That's when we're losing that water, right? That's based on a lot of meteorology factors, right? How hot it is, the humidity, right? Condensation, when that water condenses, right, and forms clouds, right? We have transpiration. So people perspirate. Trees transpirate. So when trees and plants lose water, that is transpiration. That is also going into the atmosphere as well. All right. So this is basically just a basic chart of how this all works. Now, one factor is runoff. Runoff is essentially a word for flooding, right? And a lot of different factors go into runoff, right? If water, and it's crazy to think, right? If you went back 100 years ago, when rain fell, it likely hit something that it would go into the ground, right? It's going to hit grass, it's going to hit trees, forests, whatever. Raindrop on Long Island has a 70% chance of hitting something that's impermeable, which means that it won't go into the ground, right? It'll hit a roof, a parking lot, right? Something like that, it won't seep directly into the ground, and that's why it gets redirected into drains, which then goes into a sump. And the real word for a sump is a recharge basin. And the reason why you have these sumps on Long Island is for water to go somewhere. If we didn't have any structure here, you wouldn't need a sump, right? So runoff, the factor of runoff is basically flooding, right? Obviously, if something's impermeable, it's going to run off of the surface like a driveway or a roof, but also some factors as well with the ground. If the ground is frozen, you're going to have runoff, right? If the ground does not have vegetation, if it has clay, that doesn't soak in water as well, right? Something impermeable like rock, it's going to have a runoff. Steep slope, right? It's going to have runoff, right? If you have a level ground with vegetation, and it's not frozen, that's when water infiltrates, and it infiltrates into the ground. It goes into the ground, and it also percolates, like coffee, like water going through coffee grains, percolates through the coffee grains, right? And that's how it gets into the groundwater. And that's what we're going to talk about more next week. But I want to do this lesson, obviously, to give you a head start. If you're done with your castle learning, you want to start next week's assignment with the vocab, right? And what we're really going to focus on next week is our groundwater, right? And the different factors with the soil, right? The size of the particles, right? Is it clay? Is it sand? Is it mixed together? And here in Long Island, we have mixed glacial till, right? If you remember from the glacier unit, right? And we get our water from the groundwater, and that's what we're going to be spending time with next week. So I just want to do this quick lesson on the water cycle. Here's the vocab that you're going to have part of next week's assignment. So it's not due this week; it's due next week, right? And then next week, we're just going to have a quick lesson on Long Island groundwater and where we get our water from, right? So part of that assignment, if you want to get a jump start on it, is this vocab: evaporation, precipitation, condensation, transpiration, runoff. I put precipitation in there twice. I'm going to delete that. I'll delete that later. Infiltration, percolation, aquifer, permeability, porosity, capillarity, saltwater intrusion, and groundwater plumes, which is going to lead us into Superfund sites and when the groundwater gets tainted, and you have cleanups involved, and it's a problem. And we have several Superfund sites on Long Island, so that's going to be a whole topic. And I'll take a video actually from a Superfund site, which is not too far from my house. So that's it for today, guys. Just a brief thing. Again, focus on your castle learning this week. Wednesday will be basically a live extra help for your castle learning. Get it done, 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Wake up, right? Get to it. It's not that early. I know some of you guys are sleeping till noon, 1 o'clock, but get there, all right? I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and let me know if you have any questions. Hope you guys are doing well. It's warming up. It's getting nice out, every day. So get outside, enjoy yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys soon.